And you know, my background is mostly in geochemical analysis. All right, we like to start with a SRC land acknowledgement. SRC's headquarters in Saskatoon is situated on Treaty 6 territory and the homeland of the Métis. SRC Regina is situated on Treaty 4 territory and the homeland of the Métis. And SRC Project Cleans is situated on Treaty 8 territory and the homeland of the Métis. So safety at SRC is an overriding priority. And so we always start every day with an SRC safety share and meetings as well. So I'd like to start with a safety share of my own today. We are getting to the end of the school year here, and we do know that kids are going back and forth in those school zones throughout the school year, but once school ends, they often are in those school zones as well. And we have to remember that those school zones are still 30 kilometers an hour throughout the entire year. So just be aware that the patterns of the kids in your neighborhood are probably going to change, and just watch out around those school zones as the school year ends here. Okay, so what are we going to discuss today? We're going to give a little bit of an outline, an overview of this, what the Saskatchewan Research Council is, who we are, the key industries that we serve, some of the facilities we have in Saskatoon, Regina, and our northern site as well, and the services that we bring to those industries, those key industries we serve in Saskatchewan and across the country. We're going to finish off with some facts and firsts of SRC from over the years, and then lastly, you'll be able to ask a few questions about SRC in the end. So who is SRC? SRC is the second largest research and technology organization in Canada. So we've traditionally supported the government, industry, and communities in the province here. But we've grown that to across the country and around the world as well. SRC has been around for 75 years. And if you see down below on the left side of the diagram is traditional academia research, type of areas. SRC sits in the sort of middle between industry and traditional research at a university. So we're looking to try to bring technology or assist in bringing technology to market by testing and validating technologies. So we are a part of the Saskatchewan government. We are a Treasury Board Crown Corporation, and we're governed by the Research Council Act. Now we are accountable to a minister that is responsible for SRC, but we do have an independent board of directors that oversees SRC activities. And because we are part of government, we do receive a portion of funding. But this is mostly to start up new projects, investigate new initiatives in the economy that the government wants to build. A lot of our service divisions, which I'm going to speak to today, are fee-for-service work. So that isn't funded by government funding. The interesting part about being a Treasury Board Crown Corporation is that the revenues at SRC do not go back to the government. They stay within SRC and they're reinvested in new technologies and new initiatives at the Saskatchewan Research Council. So a lot of the work that SRC performs on the service side is, we're providing solutions for challenges that industry brings to us. So often a new division or a new type of work is a question that's been brought to SRC employees, and they try to figure out a solution for that question. As I mentioned before, we're looking to assist in bringing technology to market. And we want to see what the market is looking for as well to help support it even better. So that's part of our role at the Saskatchewan Research Council, is to support the industry in Saskatchewan and grow the economy. We do have world-class laboratories and facilities. A lot of the work that we've done in Saskatchewan has led to work around the world, and those facilities are often regarded as top class. And the main industries we serve, which are fundamental to the Saskatchewan economy, are the mining, energy, environment, and agriculture industries. We currently have 4 divisions at SRC. Many people are probably very familiar with the project divisions, the rare earth elements group, the applied nuclear team. I won't be speaking to those 2 groups today, but I will be speaking more to the services divisions, so our laboratory services and technical services. So a little bit more on SRC and what role we provide in the province here and across the country. We do, like I mentioned, have 75 years of research experience. There's over 350 employees at SRC. And as I mentioned, we have many clients, 1,600 clients in 22 different countries. That's, we are doing very well at expanding outside of just the province here. We had over $230 million in annual revenue in the 22-23 year. And we often look at how does the investment from the government of Saskatchewan, how does that relate back to total impact on the Saskatchewan economy? So what we found is that we have almost a 50 times return on provincial investment for looking back at the Saskatchewan economy. And that last in 22-23, the total impact was nearly $1 billion for Saskatchewan, as well as close to 90 million jobs created or maintained in the province here. And since 2003, when we started tracking this, we've had nearly $15 billion in impacts on the province. So as you can see, if we had $1 billion in 22-23, that is growing on our impact, the provincial economy. So our headquarters for the Saskatchewan Research Council is located in Saskatoon, Saskatchewan. The majority of our facilities are located in Saskatoon. We do have an office in Regina, which is mostly focused on the energy industry, traditional oil and gas, as well as renewable energy and some tools to look at emissions reductions as well. And we have a satellite site in Uranium City. This is part of Project Cleans and has been active since we started that project many years ago. As well on the map here, you can see some of the countries that we are working in. As I mentioned, we have 1,600 clients in 22 different countries, and you can see that it's not even concentrated in one area of the world, where we are working throughout the world here. So if we look at some of the industries that we are serving, the mine industry, which is very important to the province of Saskatchewan, we like to we like to say that we work from cradle to grave in the mining industry. And this is from working on exploration activities such as assaying for exploration and mining companies for uranium, potash, and other commodities, through to the mineral processing group looking at mineral extraction, products that can be created from those minerals that have been discovered during exploration, to some of our process development team or manufacturing team that looks at how they optimize some of these operations and provide automation or to some of the processing plants, for example, to closure. So we do have a remediation team here as well at SRC that has been working on Project Cleans. It was the first project to look at cleaning up abandoned uranium mines here in the province. So we do provide a lot of testing and validation in our services groups, and we do work closely and collaboratively together with many different teams. So the geoanalytical lab team works very closely with our environmental laboratory team to provide that full cycle of service and analyses for all areas of the mining industry. And we support, commodities. We usually start with commodities based in Saskatchewan: uranium, potash, gold, precious metals, base metals. But we've also expanded into many different commodities over the years: diamonds, lithium, rare earth elements, really anything that is brought forward to us. We're happy to take a look at and offer our expertise. For the energy industry, we have provided a lot of assistance in navigating the energy transition. So we have done a lot of research and work into alternative energies, biofuels, and renewable energy sources, and how do they fit into this modern energy system in Saskatchewan. We've helped assist building renewable systems such as the solar and wind farm here seen at the Cavassus First Nation. It's been a very successful project and created some energy sovereignty for that community. As well, we do support a traditional oil and gas industry as well, looking at how to improve efficiencies, as well as looking at transitions, reducing emissions, stuff like that, as well as enhanced oil recovery. We've done a lot of work in core flood to see how to enhance oil recovery in older fields. So if we're looking at the Environment Division, these are some of our older divisions. We've started to put some of them together into both laboratory and technical services. But on the environment, we do a lot of work with Project Cleans. So Project Cleans remediated 37 abandoned uranium mines, as many people know, in northern Saskatchewan. And this was a great partnership between government, industry, Saskatchewan Research Council, and the community. So a lot of the work was done by industry to complete this project, and so far it's been very successful. We've also used this to many governments around the world have come to SRC to see how can they look at applying this process to their communities as well in their mining industry and remediating abandoned mine sites. We do look at how to reduce environmental impacts, like monitoring and measuring through our environmental analytical laboratory or through our air quality team, measuring emissions from stacks at mine sites or manufacturing facilities to provide air quality testing for that. And then lastly, we test a lot of materials: water, air, soil, for any sort of test that's really needed in environmental testing. We do a lot of radiochemistry work, specifically including radon testing for houses as well. So these are the three sort of areas of the economy that we've discussed here: energy, environment, and mining, and some of the key facilities that we have at SRC to help service those. So the Cedar Trailers, or the Center for Demonstration of Emissions Reduction, is a mobile laboratory that we can take to an oil and gas site to look at emissions and how do we help reduce those emissions from those sites. And they can do on-site analysis and measurement for your team there. That can also be set up to do satellite measurements as well. We do have carbon capture, utilization, storage, and core flood testing facilities for oil and gas in Regina. A lot of this technology was developed to assist the oil and gas industry in the province of Saskatchewan, and we built and manufactured a lot of the core flood testing equipment that we currently use. And I'll speak to that a little bit more about where we're heading with that as well. The Shook Gillies high pressure, high temperature facility in our Pipe Flow Technology Center. The Pipe Flow Technology Center is a great way to test how to move slurries over long distances, as well as to evaluate tailings. They also have this high pressure, high temperature loop where it's something that is not found anywhere else on the work they can do there. And then also the smart grid and hybrid energy systems. So we have a lot of expertise in looking at alternative energies. Over the last 20 years, I've seen a lot of work go into renewable energy sources, everything from hydrogen to natural gas to air or wind and solar systems. Also, we do build these hybrid energy systems, which are diesel, battery, hybrid generator systems that we can put into a CCAN and are transportable to site. So they are sort of almost like mobile hybrid energy systems that you can take to a camp or a small town to provide power. On the environment side, we have the Environmental Analytical Laboratory. This also includes our Petroleum Analytical Laboratory. This used to be in Regina, but it's now in Saskatoon. The Petroleum Analytical Laboratory does, traditional oil and gas testing, but it also tests materials like transistor oils. Our environmental remediation facilities, we have a team here in Saskatoon, but we also have the facility up at Uranium City, which is our satellite office to help out when the teams are in the field, and we will be continuously monitoring that project as it comes near completion. And then climate reference stations. SRC is a series of climate reference stations in Saskatchewan. We do have the oldest or longest operating climate reference station in Western Canada. This is a great resource to see climate trends in the province, moisture trends, for example, snowpack, other trends like that. And that data is available to anyone that's looking to have it to add to their system. We also have worked on satellite climate stations internationally as well. And so we provide satellite operations for those or assistance with that too. On the mining side, we have our rare earth processing facility, which I won't be speaking to today, but everyone is very familiar with that. The Geoanalytical Laboratory provides assaying for exploration and mining companies, mostly for commodities based in Saskatchewan, but not just exclusively that. The Advanced Microanalysis Center is part of the Geoanalytical Laboratory, provides mineralogical data from either electron microprobe or scanning electron microscope or XRD to us, and just a little bit more information for exploration and mining companies. Our macro micro diamond laboratory is based in Saskatoon as well. It's the largest commercial facility for diamond extraction in the world. It was started basically from a uranium company that drilled an anomaly on a geophysical report. They came up with kimberlite, and they came to SRC and said, how can you assist with finding out if there's diamonds in this core? And SRC came up with the process, and it's gone from there to become a world-class facility where samples are shipped from around the world. Our mineral processing laboratory and pilot plant started out as mostly bench scale testing here at Saskatchewan Research Council about 15 years ago, and now is growing into quite a large facility with large scale pilot plants up to 1 ton per day production for commodities like lithium, for example. The Pipe Flow Technology Center is also based in Saskatoon here. It's was originally developed to assist with a lot of the oil sands production, but now is doing a lot of work in potash, uranium, other commodities like gold, and how do you move slurries through pipelines and get those to tailings facilities as well. Our Minerals Liberation Sorting Center is part of the Diamond Laboratory. and geoanalytical lab as well. Basically, they evaluate, does a automated sorter fit within your mine design, and does the mineralogy, what type of mineralogy supports the sorter that you would be choosing to help either bring this technology in. Sorting can either, remove environmentally damaging materials, or it can, upgrade materials so that they make the deposit a little bit more economical. Mechatronics and Product Development Laboratory is where they, prototype materials that someone wants to bring a technology to market. So something like the Easy Wrap was something that they designed there at our mechatronics laboratory as well. We've designed a lot of boards for optimizing and automating facilities. So just some pictures here to highlight some of the facilities that we have. On the left is the geoanalytical laboratories. We moved from Innovation Place in Saskatoon to Cleveland Avenue, where the majority of our facilities are now, to a brand new facility about 3 years ago. A lot of work went into dust collection systems, better workflow, how to improve the turnaround times for our exploration and mining clients, and provide better analyses for those clients. This is an ISO 17025 accredited facility and a CNSC licensed facility for radioactive materials as well. On the right side is the Advanced Microanalysis Center. The top picture is our electron microprobe that was originally brought in to look at indicator mineral grains for the diamond industry. The chemistry of individual indicator mineral grains in chemistry can provide, whether you're on the track to find a diamondiferous deposit or not. What we've been using it for, we still use it a lot for indicator mineral grains, but we also have been looking at metals to see if if a metal has failed in a process, to see what that metal looks like on the micron scale. So this is a very powerful tool to look at the chemistry of materials on a micron scale. So you can take individual spot analysis around those materials. In the bottom corner here, this is our scanning electron microscope, or our QEM-scan. It provides automated mineralogical analysis. So basically, you can put a thin section in. It uses the chemical data to create a mineral map. It's also great at looking at products that have been created in metals to see, or products that have been created from our mineral processing team, to see if they are the products they're expecting, or is there any contaminants in there as well. And it again looks at the micron scale, and it can be used for biological materials too. On the left-hand side here is our diamond lab. And as I spoke to before, it is the largest commercial diamond extraction facility in the world for exploration and mining. In the bottom is our kiln, where we heat the samples with sodium hydroxide. These kilns were originally didn't fit what we needed in the geoanalytical lab for increasing our production. So we went back to our engineering team here at SRC. We redesigned those kilns. We took that back to the manufacturer. The manufacturer liked how we redesigned the kilns, and now they offer the SRC redesign as a kiln option for anyone that wants to purchase these kilns. So often SRC, if there's something that is challenging to us, or getting in the way of our automation or production, we look at how best can we solve that problem, and then we'll take that back to the manufacturer and say, this is something that we found worked really well, and we hope that they put that into production. In the top left-hand corner, this is our observation room. So any diamond that we extract, it has to be individually picked under a microscope. These are micron-sized diamonds, down to 100 microns in size. They then have to be individually weighed as well. So some samples that have a lot of diamonds, microdiamonds, there could be thousands of diamonds that they're handpicking and weighing on a daily basis in that laboratory. As I mentioned, we do have some large pilot plant facilities available. Uh, what we do is if someone comes to us with a request for a pilot plant, we can put that pilot plant together in some of the large bays that we have at Cleveland Avenue now. So in the top here is a crushing plant that was put in for a project. It's a 3-ton per hour crushing plant. And we have many facilities like this that have been brought in, built, and designed to assist with projects not only in Saskatchewan but around the world. Down here is our Minerals Liberation Sorting Center, one of the XRTs from the sorting center. We currently have 2 XRT sorters on site, one specifically for diamonds, another one for the majority of other commodities that an XRT would be beneficial to. We can test, the amenability to see how well your material is processed through an XRT, but we can also do pilot plant studies to process tonnages of materials to see if you were just the run-of-mill was going to go through that sorter, what would the concentrate look like and how well is it upgrading and how efficient it is. Later this year, we will have a laser sorter on site as well as part of our Minerals Liberation Sorting Center. So on the left here is our mineral processing team. As I mentioned before, it mainly started out as bench scale testing, but has grown considerably, especially in the last 5 to 10 years. Here's another one of these major pilot plants that we currently have on site. It's a 1 ton per hour or 1 ton per day lithium extraction plant or lithium production plant. And we will run these pilot plants for months on end here at SRC. But we still do that bench scale testing as well. And they're not only focused on commodities in Saskatchewan, basically, they'll focus on anything that you provide. So if you have a question, don't hesitate to reach out to the mineral processing team. The Pipe Flow Technology Center, shown here on the right, has a series of piping systems where they can test movement of slurries over long distances, the effects of temperature, pressure, for example. They can do lots of online measurements. Not only do they do testing for clients, but they have built some technology themselves. They developed a clay cart for measuring clay content online through a pipe system. So this is something that was needed in industry. It was developed at SRC and now is being provided to industry itself. It has been put into a lot of plant systems throughout the country here. Our mechatronics lab, as I mentioned before, they do a lot of product prototyping. They've created, as I mentioned, the Easy Wrap prototype to bring to market. They do a lot of work in electrical boards, automation of electrical systems. They have created tools such as underwater cameras to go down to look at flooding in mine sites as well. They've looked at developing cameras or sensing systems to look at evaluating the cavity mined at the end of the day in certain mine sites, and so they can produce prototypes for you, and then it would be brought to production, or that technology would be brought to market. And then on the right is some of our smart grid and hybrid energy system solutions that we've provided over the years. The top one is Cowessess First Nation. This has been running for many years and has been a very successful project in evaluating solar and wind power in the province and what the benefit can be to assist with the electrical needs of people in the province. And then below is the hybrid generator system, which I spoke to before. Basically, there's a large battery system in there. The generator operates more efficiently in this process. So the generator runs to charge the batteries. The batteries then provide the power to your camp, your community, whatever you have that system brought in for. But what happens is instead of your generator idling at times and not being efficient, it's always running at the most optimal speed, and so it's much better for your generator system, but it also reduces your fuel costs and for your camps. Also, the solar panels on the side are just there to maintain the battery system. So if you close the camp for a few months, the solar panels are there to make sure that the batteries are maintained while the camp is closed. CEDAR is our mobile laboratory, which we can take to site to evaluate emissions and look at emission reductions and improve process on oil and gas sites. They've done a lot of work in methane reduction analysis and research in the province here. And then core flood testing was originally developed at the Saskatchewan Research Council for looking at enhanced oil recovery in traditional oil and gas fields. As you can see, there's a core in the top part here. The core flood technique is very beneficial for this because you can control the pressure, the temperature, the solutions that are moving, the flow rate through the core, and then you can evaluate the core in the end to see how that material has been affected from whatever you're putting into the core flood operation. Where we're seeing a real benefit now is we're using this for other commodities. So looking at in situ leaching for uranium, potash, we've started to see an interest in gold, copper in situ leaching projects. So this is a great technique at evaluating not only oil and gas leaching, but also other commodities as well. On the left here is our environmental analytical laboratory. Now, this is a laboratory that it is still based at Innovation Place. It does a lot of testing throughout the mining cycle from when you're starting a environmental monitoring program for a new exploration project through to environmental monitoring while you're in production to the remediation and closure. A large portion of what we do on our environmental analytical laboratory side is look at radiochemistry and how that fits in, and the analysis of that materials. And as I mentioned before, if you've had any radon testing done in Saskatchewan, most likely it's been analyzed at the Saskatchewan Research Council laboratories. And then here's some images of our climate research station. So this is one of the research climate reference stations in Saskatoon. This one is very close to the Sutherland Dog Park. If you've seen some tools out there in the field, that's what it is. It's a climate reference station. And the data from these reference stations is available to the public if you are interested in any trends in the climate currently. And then lastly, our Project Cleans. This was, as I mentioned before, a very successful project in partnership between government, industry, the Research Council, and communities. This is just highlighting some of the work that's been done and what it looks like post remediation here. There is still some work to be completed up there, but as I showed before, there's 37 abandoned uranium mines that were remediated through this process. So just to summarize some of these key services, the Geoanalytical Lab and the Advanced Microanalysis Center provide a lot of techniques to assay and analyze your samples. But we're always looking at ways to automate that analysis. So our automated mineralogy can provide mineralogical data and images of your analyses. They also can evaluate, what those mineral assemblages look like in your samples. and provide that data to exploration and mining clients. Our mineral processing team looks at everything from comminution to pre-concentration to tailings management. Here's an image of one of the bench scale testing of solvent extraction at the Saskatchewan Research Council that we have. As I mentioned before, we do a lot of work between bench scale to pilot scale operations now, and we typically start at the bench scale and moves towards that pilot scale operation. Sensor-based sorting has been something that SRC has been working in for many years. We've used sensor-based sorting on the diamond side for quite a long time, but we're seeing it applied to a lot more commodities, and there's an increased interest as it does remove materials before it gets put into your tailings, or removing environmentally sensitive materials before they have to go through your processing plant. It also can help upgrade ore so that it becomes more economical. So we do everything from bench scale sensor testing to see how your minerals respond to different sensors, up to actually putting your material through a sensor-based sorter, which should be the optimal sorter for your samples, and seeing how well they upgrade that material in the end. So we have lots of different sensor-based sorting technologies that we can apply at Saskatchewan Research Council. Our mineral processing group can also create mineral products from your materials to see what you'd end up with in the end and what could be marketable. We have done some plant troubleshooting and optimization as well if there is an issue in production. Our diamond bulk processing plant does a lot of work in the northern communities as well as Africa as well. It does a processing of macro diamond stones, and they can also classify those macro stones based on color and size. Both our mineral processing team and our pipe flow technology team have done a lot of work in tailings management as well as testing and analyses. So they can help you move that slurry through the pipeline, but they can also help with the tailings material in the end after you've processed. As I mentioned, the automated clay analyzer. So SRC is always looking to, as I mentioned before, build technologies that assist us in creating good data. But then once we've built that technology, we bring that to market and bring that to our clients so that they can apply that technology to their operations as well. And the automated clay cart or clay analyzer is a good example of that. So if we look at integrated energy solutions, SRC has lots of experience in this field. We've worked at this for over 30, 40 years, and it's always an interest of the province to see how does hydrogen or renewables, biofuels, how does that fit into our economy? And we've had lots of success in working with these types of energy solutions as well. I did speak to the hybrid battery storage solutions, but we also do a lot of work in evaluating the electrical microgrids. So how do you provide power to smaller centers or create some power sovereignty to northern communities, for example, where they often have loss of power for time periods, and how do you create more clear power solutions for those communities? We have developed specialized instrumentation controls, so working on automating processes and such as like digital mining, for example. So optimizing or automating your plant operations there. Our CEDAR does look at reducing greenhouse gas emissions and what can be put forward to assisting with that. Also, we provide a lot of air quality testing. So This is something that to see, when you're in production, how much, what is the air quality being released to the atmosphere. Part of our core flood testing that we've done also involves carbon capture, utilization, and storage. So we've done a lot of work in that field for the oil and gas industry, along with the enhanced oil recovery. And then mine closure and remediation services. So we started with the 37 abandoned uranium mines, but we've also provided a lot of assistance and expertise to other projects as well, and how we can apply those to other commodities and other abandoned mine sites. And then in the bottom corner here, this is that radon testing cell, but our analytical capabilities do include, we can look at water, effluents, all sorts of waste, organic materials, fish, anything that is sort of related to the environmental field, we can analyze most likely. So often we're looking to reinvest in the Saskatchewan Research Council on new innovative technologies and bring those technologies forward for industry. So a lot of work has gone into looking at how do we automate processes and digitize this. So sensor-based sorting is digitizing our is automating some of the processes for sorting materials. As well, our QuemScan is looking at automating petrography in the exploration and mining industry. For decarbonization, we've been on the leading edge for carbon capture. Like I mentioned, we've looked at transitional energy systems for over 40 years. When I started at SRC, there was a natural gas chapter and a hydrogen vehicle fleet for Sask Energy. And so, there's been a lot of evaluation in how does this fit into the Saskatchewan economy, and it continues to be something that we work in. And then lastly, I'm sure if you're familiar with the hydrogen report produced by the province last year, SRC was very much a part of evaluating a hydrogen hub in Saskatchewan here. And as many people know in the province here, the critical minerals list from the Government of Canada, many of those minerals are listed as minerals that are found in the province of Saskatchewan here. We have a lot of expertise in analyzing those, processing those, and working with those, especially lithium, rare earths, uranium, potash. Those are all something that we can work with here at the Saskatchewan Research Council and have expertise in. So just some facts and firsts of SRC. We've been around for 75 years. The Geoanalytical Lab's been around for 50 years. So we've had a lot of expertise in what we do. So our Pipe Flow Technology Center helped develop hydro transport technology for the oil sands industry. Before this, everything was transferred on conveyor belts. So that's really great technology for the industry as well. The conveyor belts were prone to breakdowns, so this is something that made the process a little bit better for the industry. So in 1987, there was an energy efficient conservation houses for the Olympics, or housing Olympics. SRC's design came in second, and it influenced the energy efficient housing movement in Canada and building standards for at the time. So we used to have a large hydrogeology group here at the Saskatchewan Research Council. They did a lot of groundwater mapping in the province. And the U.S. government sent out the Geological Survey, the USGS, to Saskatchewan to study some of our methods on how we map that groundwater so they could apply that in the U.S. So that's some of the expertise here that we've developed in the province gets distributed worldwide. So as well, our our environmental and forestry group or team looked at as part of NASA to evaluate the forest ecosystem and the interaction between the lower atmosphere. This was quite a large project. It was over $1 million contract, and this was to help with the boreal ecosystem atmosphere study. In Canada here. And then, as I mentioned a few times here, that this is one of the we do have the world's largest commercial diamond laboratory here in Saskatoon. So in 1981, we've been involved with part of a lot of discoveries with high-grade uranium deposits, from assaying to mineral processing. So I did mention that our Metatronics lab developed a camera to help evaluate how much was mined in a cavity at the end of the day for one of the high-grade uranium deposits. This is a very well-used technique now to evaluate the size of the material that's been removed. It was for a jet boring operation at the time. I will say that I don't think SRC turns away many projects. So as you can see here, they decided to harvest knife for tapping rubber trees in Borneo. It's something that doesn't even apply to Saskatchewan, but we're happy to take on a research project like this and develop something that can be beneficial to economies elsewhere as well. So if we look at our air quality team, they've done a lot of air sampling. They did develop the mini tube in the 80s. This system trapped, collected, and analyzed airborne contaminants in the form of gases, vapors, and aerosols, and then became part of our Department of National Defense's technique for air sampling as well. And then in the 80s, we developed a computerized system for Royal University Hospital to aid in monitoring a patient's physiological vital signs during cardiac catheterization procedures. So if you have any questions or you want to reach out, if you've got something interesting to bring to the Saskatchewan Research Council, you can always reach out to myself or Lucinda Wood, who's our Director of Business Development here at SRC. I'll leave those up for a little bit, but we could probably start with some questions.
Well, Rob, it's Eric here, SIMSA again. Normally I go online and I say, hey, people send your questions in, and I start asking questions myself. Not this time. Looks like we've got some questions that are rolled in. I think I can even answer the first one because they came in early in the presentation. The first question I've got here, are the potash, are the profits mainly from potash or with potash?
Our profits and revenues at SRC are, over the entire economy. So I think that we benefit a lot from the mining industry in the province here, and potash is a big part of that. But a lot of what we do is over many different commodities.
The next question is on smart grids, equivalent to how many homes to be powered?
Okay, so that's part of our process development team. And with smart grids or microgrids, what SRC does is we go in and we evaluate the community. So it can be anywhere from one house to a small town that we're looking at a smart microgrid here. And with this, it really, then we do the evaluation of how much power is needed. So let's say it's a larger community, we may say, well, you may need three of those hybrid diesel generator systems. Really, it's about optimizing the power for the community and what is the most cost-efficient way for them to produce power.
The next one, if we want to keep going here, is from the map of clients slide, where there's so few, if any, projects and clients in the U.S. They were in 22 countries, I believe was the one slide, but they're asking why there's so few in the U.S.
We do have quite a few clients in the U.S. I think we just put that one point there as a highlight to say that we are in the U.S. But we do a lot of work through the U.S. And as I displayed there on one of those slides, NASA was one of our clients. We're continuously marketing ourselves in the U.S. as well, and many of our clients we work with in the province here work in the U.S. as well, and they often use our services when they're down there too.
Thank you. And for a complete change of direction now, what is the typical process for remediating closed uranium sites?
That is a great question. You know what I can do is I can put that person in touch with our remediation team. They have more extensive knowledge in that expertise area, and I can't speak to that personally, but they can get back to them.
Here's an easier one. Can this deck link be shared?
That is a good question. Most likely we can share this if someone reaches out to SRC or myself. We can probably share some of this too.
Yeah, we can, as SIMSA here, we're pretty good at, we get decks in and we send them out to people. We have the registrant list. So, a couple more here. Are there different engagement rates typically for Saskatchewan-centric projects?
Good question. We do. I think a lot of what we do here is based to support the Saskatchewan economy, but that's not limiting us as well. And so we're always looking. If someone comes to us with a problem that needs to be solved, we're looking to solve that. What we like to do though is there is proximity here in the province with the Saskatchewan Research Council and our clients here in Saskatchewan. And so that often brings us into focus sometimes, but it isn't. I wouldn't say there's a difference in engagement rates.
And the final question in the queue is: can those marketing services tools to the US be shared?
That's a good question. I'll have to direct that to our business development director, Lucinda Wood, on what currently services they're using in the US. Yeah.
Okay. Well, thank you. Yeah. Well, folks, we're coming close to the end of the hour. If there's any more questions, you better get them in the next few, next little bit here. In the meantime, I'm just going to thank Rob. I was Lucinda Wood, actually, I believe, with the SRC that kind of kicked this whole concept off of having these events. So thank you, Lucinda. Thank you, Rob, for presenting. And there's that straggling question coming in now. Where will this recording be shared? Well, I'll have it. If anybody, probably first, and we can send it out if once we get clearance from the SRC. Anybody who signed up for it, we can just send a link to it, or depending on the size of it, we might just send the entire deck as a PDF or something like that. And Ms. Wood just wrote she will share it on the SRC website too. There we go. She's hiding in the weeds there. Any other questions, folks, real quick? Seeing anything? Well, folks, thank you for attending another great Lunch and Learn event, this time with SRC. Rob, thank you for guiding us through a whole pile of different things you do, and I wasn't aware of many of them, and it's great to see it, and congratulations on such a great business space you're developing here in the province. Okay. Folks, have a great day. Travel safe wherever you're going this weekend. Now we're getting into the summer travel season. People are starting to look around. Camping's starting to get on people's minds, and be safe out there. Thank you very much, folks. Have a great day.
Yep. Thank you.